Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Race Rats podcast. Um, Life's been crazy, hence why these episodes are coming out late, and why I am unfortunately co-hostless still. Um, Once again, our schedules just have not lined up, and it will probably be the same for the Qatar episode. Um, and we will probably have some news to share soon once everything is confirmed, but for now, unfortunately, you have to just put up with me. So, we're here to speak about the Vegas Grand Prix. Welcome. Um, First and foremost, obviously, we were going into this weekend knowing that the Drivers' Championship could be taken um, this weekend, as well as it could go the way of McLaren and go another week. All Lando had to do to stay in contention for another week was outscore Max by 3 or more points. Unfortunately, Vegas is not a track that suits McLaren very well. And Max did take his fourth title. I'm not upset by it. I think we all kind of went into this weekend obviously hoping Lando could at least go another week. It was nice to watch somebody fighting Max for that championship and to get so close to Abu Dhabi, like it coming down to the wire again, it was nice. It was a nice change for the last couple of years. But I think a lot of us did go into this weekend, Lando included, knowing how little a chance it was to continue past this week, which did mean we did have low hopes of making it. Congratulations to Max Verstappen on a fourth consecutive world title, obviously. There's no denying that he is a phenomenal driver with a insane amount of talent. To be driving a car that he's been struggling with all year and to still take that drivers' championship. Props to him. But we're going to talk about the Grand Prix. We're going to talk about Vegas. We're going to talk about what happened. And then we're going to talk about what happened after Vegas. And yeah, let's jump into it. So starting with FP1, not a lot went on, to be honest. It was very there was no drama. There was no slip ups really. Few people went into the runoff area just with temperatures and the way the tires were reacting to the road, but no one crashed. No one yelled over the radio too much. FP1 was pretty chill. And it did end with Hamilton, Russell, and Norris topping the times. So the two Mercedes and Lando, which, shows great pace for us in Vegas, considering as a McLaren fan, we can all admit Vegas is not our strong suit. So to see him doing well in the first session, can't be mad. FP2 did have a red flag due to the Williams of Alex Albon having a fuel line issue and stopping on track, unable to be moved. Shockingly enough, the Williams were actually able to run. The mechanics of Williams have done a phenomenal work on those cars this year with the amount of damage they've unfortunately gone through. And there were rumors before Vegas that Williams would not be even able to run in Vegas because of how much damage there was in Brazil. They did get to run, but FP2 was stopped with red flags because of Alex Albon. Other than that, the only other things that were really notable were Max Verstappen complaining about having no tire grip. Again, as I said, the track conditions as well as the temperatures in the middle of the night in Vegas, because that's when these sessions are being run, is in the middle of the night in Vegas. Um, the tires do struggle, and everyone complains about the same thing. Because the red flags were so close to the end, the times couldn't really be any better than they already were, really. So FP2 ended up with the top three being Hamilton, Norris, and Russell. Again, obviously switch around with Russell and Norris, um, but an all Brit top three again. Love to see it. FP3, I'm just gonna say now, all the free practice sessions were pretty chill. Nothing really happened. All the issues and flags were literally just caused by car issues. Shockingly, nothing much to report with the FPs. But FP3 also got stopped due to Lance Stroll having a power issue, um, and stopping inside the track and having to be picked up. Verstappen was complaining about the tires again on the Saturday, saying that the car was undrivable and that he felt like he was going to crash, which checks out for Vegas. And because of when Lance's car stopped, there was not much time for drivers to get out and do a fast lap. So only a couple got to do it at the very end, which meant the top three did have a little bit of a switch up for FP3, with the top three being George Russell, Oscar Piastri, and Carlos Sainz. After last year's manhole incident, we got to see Carlos do well. So I'm happy. No manhole this year. Thank you. And obviously having at least one of the McLarens up there shows good pace for us. Shows that like it's not horrible for us. On to qualifying. So on to qualifying. Q1, not much really happened other than people struggling with tires again. I feel like I'm getting repetitive with this. Vegas is just known for tire struggles because they can't get enough heat in the tires because it is very cold in the middle of the night in Vegas at this time of year because we're approaching winter. Well, yeah, we're approaching winter for them. So it's the middle of the night. There's no heat in the tires. The road is slippery. It's Vegas. Just get used to it. So first five out, just not being able to put enough lap times in, and there's a name in here that's not going to shock you anymore. Let's be honest. So from bottom to top, first five: Lance Stroll, Valtteri Bottas, Alex Albon, Fernando Alonso, Sergio Perez. Can you guess which one's not surprising anymore? It's not Bottas. Let's just say that. Both Aston Martins just not having a great time and out Q1. Now Q2 got a little bit more interesting because Q2 got red flagged. Q2 got red flagged. And Q2 got red flagged for the first time this weekend because of a crash. And Q2 got stopped. I feel like I'm gonna cry thinking about this again because like I really, really feel the mechanics over at Williams because yeah, Q2 got red flagged because of Colapinto having a massive stint into the wall. Once again, just the tires not having grip, everyone's struggling. His crash was actually so bad he had to be checked out by the medical team because it was something like in the 40s or 50 G's. So like he had to get checked. He had to get checked Sunday morning to make sure that he could even run the race because again, with a crash that bad, it's shocking that he walked out as unfazed as he did. Like he should have been more dazed and confused, which I'll come back to in a second. Other than that, some scary almost exits. but enough to just get times in. Next 5 out, Liam Lawson, Franco Colapinto, obviously due to the crash, Zhou Yu, Kevin Magnussen, and Esteban Ocon. And all right, Q3. Q3 had a little less drama and a little more excitement. Nothing notable happened with the times. The times were very, very thin margin. With pole positions, fastest lap to get them pole being a 1:32.3. And I'm going to say ninth being a 1:33.0. How fine those margins were. 10th, unfortunately, don't know why, had no pace, was a 1:48.1. That's a big jump. Don't know what happened there. Leaving that as it is. Let's talk about it. So we're going to go 10th to first. Because the top three, I'm just going to say, 10th to first, Hamilton, Hulkenberg, Piastri, Tsunoda, Norris, Verstappen, Leclerc, Gasly, Sainz, Russell. Part of me is sad that Lando was down in P6. Part of me is happy that Verstappen only made it to P5. But the thing that made me the most happy was P3 Gasly. P3 Gasly and P2 Sainz starting front row after the manhole incident from last year. A thank you. Thank you. I'm ecstatic. And yeah, George Russell starting on pole. Congratulations, George Russell. You remind me of the number 4. Not like Lando's number 4, but that, I can't think of the show. But he looks like the number 4. You know? Okay, on to the race, because this is where it gets interesting. Where to start? Oh my god, I mean the start, obviously. Pretty interesting start to the race, with Leclerc jumping from P4 to P2 within the first couple of corners. As well as a heart-stopping moment of Verstappen and Norris going wheel to wheel again. That's always scary after the last few races. But staying safe this time. First notable thing to happen, which was very, very heartbreaking, was after a fantastic qualifying and great start to the race. Pierre Gasly complaining that something was wrong with the car. He did not have enough power. And the team said, no, you're fine. We can't see anything on the data. You're fine. And he said, no, I'm not. Look again. Suddenly, smoke started coming out of the car. Suddenly, he had to retire the car. Suddenly, it's found out after the race, with a photo attached, the engine had blown out. I think it was the engine. I'm pretty sure it was the engine. There was a big hole in the side pod. Big hole from being blown out. So maybe listen to your drivers. It's not like I've said this before. Anyway, next retirement was after all the hard work they put in to get those cars to Vegas. Unfortunately, the next out was due to a technical issue, the Williams of Alex Albon. I hope that the Williams mechanics get a very nice Christmas bonus this year, just because of how much work that they've put in, as well as all the trauma they've been through. I hope they get a nice Christmas bonus, and I hope that they get company paid therapy. Look into an EAP, guys. Look into an EAP if you haven't already. The next drama. like all the dramas, were things that were quite upsetting. The next drama was color signs for laps saying, "You need to box me, guys. These tires are getting worse. Please box me. I'm telling you, we need to do this now." And once again, Ferrari not listening to him, and then confirming for him to box, and then as he's about to enter the pit lane, telling him to stay out. Literally as he's crossing the pit line. So he had to duck back into the track. Luckily, he didn't get in trouble for it, because it was before he would have gotten in trouble. Before the line, he would have gotten in trouble. He was able to duck back, but it was not the best move. And he said, "What the hell is going on? Wake up, guys." And then when he asked what happened, they said, "We weren't ready. You weren't ready. You weren't ready. He told you for laps to box him. Laps. Not one, not two. I think it was about almost 5 laps. He told you to box him. You finally tell him to box. And then at the last second say, "Oh, stay out. No, stay out. We weren't ready." Come on. Come on. This is a joke, right? I don't know how you're trying to fight for the Constructors' Championship right now if you A, aren't listening to your drivers, and B, don't have your pit crew ready. That's none of my business, is it? There was also, doing real well for race day, a penalty handed out for an incorrect starting position. A 5-second penalty to Oscar Piastri. This sport really isn't for the weak. Let me just say that, because week in and week out, I wonder what the hell I'm doing. Looking at these races going, what? Another penalty? Another? Okay. What's that? You know what? I think next year I'm going to play penalty bingo. I'm going to make a little bingo sheet. And I'm going to put a list of penalties for drivers. And I'm going to play penalty bingo. I want to see how long it takes me to get bingo. Anyway. Further back in the pack. Towards the back. There was an unseen incident between Liam Lawson and Esteban Ocon. Ooh. Ocon was not happy over the radio. You can't tell who caused it. Not Ocon. No penalties or anything were handed out for that, though. And no investigation. For the first time in pretty much this whole season, Perez actually made a move that was impressive and did a double overtake on Magnussen and Lawson. The Ferraris had great pace amongst their terrible strategy. They did have great pace this race, with both of them defending very, very well against Verstappen. Oh, I just remembered something. So, obviously, Sainz and Leclerc, after pit stops, were fighting for positions safely. And Carlos was told, all he was told was to not put Leclerc under pressure. Not that he couldn't race him, not that he couldn't overtake him, just don't put him under pressure. Do it safely. If you're going to do it safely. He had more pace. Honestly, Carlos had more pace. And I'm not just saying that as a Carlos fan, as a fan of the sport who was watching the race, Carlos had more pace. Simple. As the laps were closing in, Norris went in for a quick pit stop to change the softs to go for fastest lap because obviously he was conceding that championship. He was not getting past Verstappen. He wanted at least that extra point for the constructors. Smart man, smart man. We call him last lap Lando for a reason because he gets that fastest lap. He knows what to do in those final moments to get that fastest lap. It's gonna be sad when they don't give out a fastest lap point next year because why wouldn't you? Like it's a great incentive to like get that fast lap in, even if you're not the winner. Get that damn fast lap in. So he did, but he did finish one place behind Verstappen, which meant he didn't get that 3-point lead on Verstappen. Verstappen actually beat him after the fastest lap point by literally 1 point. And if anyone remembers what Daniel Ricciardo did his last race, is he said in a post-media interview, if Max wins this championship by 1 point, he took that fastest lap point away from Lando that race. If Max wins this championship by 1 point, I've just guaranteed myself a nice Christmas present. Obviously, I know how far ahead Verstappen was. I'm not saying that. But to know that he was at 1 point this race ahead of Lando, and that was it. Thank you, Daniel Ricciardo, for everything you did for the sport and for that team that did not show you the respect you deserved. Coming to a close though, talking about 10th to 1st, shockingly in the points in 10th, Sergio Perez. 9th, Yuki Tsunoda. Underrated king. Just saying. We've said this all season, but like, if anyone's been consistent this season in a lower field car, like a midfield car, Yuki Tsunoda. Pay attention to him. 8th, Nico Hulkenberg. 7th, Oscar Piastri. 6th, Lando Norris. 5th, Max Verstappen. This is where we get interesting. As I mentioned just before, the Ferraris were fighting. 4th, Charles Leclerc. 3rd, Carlos Sainz, because Carlos got an amazing overtake on Charles without putting him under pressure. Again, he just had better pace. Got past. And I'll get back to why that's important in a second. 2nd, Lewis Hamilton. Again, the Mercedes had great pace this year in Vegas because winning the Las Vegas Grand Prix for 2024, Mr. Yabba Dabba Doo himself, George Russell. Congratulations. Have fun with it, King. Enjoy that Vegas win. Now, the reason I'll come back to it is obviously tension is high at Ferrari with Carlos Sainz leaving at the end of this season and Charles Leclerc being Ferrari's golden boy, but having a 7-time world champion as his teammate next year. Tension's running a little bit high. And obviously, the Drivers' Championship was taken this weekend with Max Verstappen winning his 4th consecutive title, but that P2 spot is still up for grabs. And obviously now that is being fought by Charles Leclerc and Lando Norris. No one else is close enough to fight for it. It's going to be one of the two. Same as constructors. Obviously, Ferrari want to maximize their points because they're very, very close to McLaren to try and get that constructors title. During the race, when Carlos was told not to put Leclerc under pressure and he overtook him, Leclerc was not happy. Leclerc threw a big tantrum over the radio and said something he probably shouldn't have said. And I'm going to repeat this now. Charles Leclerc decided it was appropriate to say, try saying it in Spanish, when he was told that Sainz was told not to put him under pressure. First of all, the radio message he was relayed uh, was misconstrued because he thought that meant they told Sainz he wasn't allowed to overtake and it was team orders, that kind of thing. And they kind of had to be like, no, we just told him not to put you under pressure, and he didn't. But to turn around and say something like, try saying it in Spanish. Carlos speaks very well English, actually. As somebody who is also a Spanish speaker, how dare you say that? Like, Carlos understands English. You fuck. Anyway, the worst one wasn't even the maybe try in Spanish. It was his post-race radio, where he was told to pick up by his engineer, Brian Bosey. And I have the quote here. He says, yes, whatever you want, as always. Yeah, I did my job, but speaking nice me all the time. All the time. It's not being nice, it's just being respectful. I know I need to shut up, but at one point is always the same. So, oh my god. And then his radio engineer was like trying to stop him the whole time and was like, Charles, Charles. And then he obviously turned around after and said, you did the right thing for the team. And said, and pick up, please. Again, reminding him, let's get back into the pits, okay? He goes, pick up, what the you want? And then goes, and the radio is on. I am so sorry. You aren't sorry, Charles Leclerc. You're sorry you got caught. How dare you speak to not only your team like that, but about your teammate like that? Being nice screws me over all the time. Does it? Does it? Because from what I have seen, not only this season, but in seasons past, you are the one with priority treatment. Carlos has had to concede to you so many times. And for him to get this podium without putting you under pressure or going against team orders, and for you to react like that, says a lot about you. Not my place. Let's leave that behind, I guess. In media after, Carlos was asked about it, and he said, I'm not going to speak on it. We've agreed not to speak on it as a team. We'll sort it out internally. Like, it's fine. Carlos showing grace as always. Yeah, it can't be said. Same. Oh my god. Same can't be said about Charles Leclerc. I'm not going to go into that any further though. Speaking of media though, now that the race is done, actually before we we're going to circle back because before I speak about media, because it's fun this time, I want to talk about one more thing with Ferrari that I'm not happy about. So I'm filming this episode because life got in the way. I'm filming this, funnily enough, after the Qatar weekend. Qatar will be in a separate episode. We're not doing two in one. Let's just say, I mean, this is literally going to get posted after Qatar anyway. With Carlos's podium in Vegas, only Team 55 was there. Only Team 55 was there. God, was I so happy that Teto was in Vegas with Carlos this weekend. Because you got Gigi, you got Teto. You're the closest of Team 55 there at the podium celebrations and at the Park Dome. Yet in Qatar, when Charles Leclerc gets the podium, all of Ferrari's there to celebrate him again. So, I will very happily be supporting Williams next year for Carlos because Williams will treat him a lot better. And that's hurtful to say considering Ferrari was his childhood dream team. But anyway, onto media because, as I said, it's fun this week. Obviously, George Russell, absolutely pumped to win the Vegas Grand Prix. He was going out partying. They were supposed to catch a flight after. He said, cancel the flight. All of us are staying in Vegas to party. You deserve it, King. Enjoy it. You know who else was partying? As I said, 4 times world champion Max Verstappen. Viva Los Verstappen. Viva Las Vegastappen. I don't know. Say what you want. That man was so happy to have his 4th title. He was walking around that media pen with a Yeti full of G&T and a glass full of G&T, and he's doing interviews and someone pulls out a bottle of vodka and he's pouring that vodka in. So you are still doing your media duties, and I feel like, as somebody who wants to work in PR, maybe considering he got community services swearing on TV because like it's a whole, it has to be family friendly. Drinking probably also shouldn't be the best idea, but I'm gonna say go for it, King. You just won your 4th title. No one can stop you. Weren't even drinking the voddy Red Bulls. He was on the G&Ts, adding some vodka in there, adding some beer in there. He was having the time of his life before he even left the track. And so he should. But he kept having the time of his life after he left the track. But before we go there, we're going to talk about Lando Norris and Max Verstappen for a second. Because obviously, Lando just had his Drivers' Championship dreams crumble in Vegas. He went into this weekend knowing that this was probably going to happen. He was still going to fight for it, but he knew. He went into this year without a single win to his name. He was a consistent driver. He was just struggling for those wins. And as a Lando fan, obviously that's been hard to watch because you see how close he's gotten, you see how much he wants it, and he just couldn't make the move. And not only did he get that maiden win this year, I can feel tears welling up in my eyes again because I am so proud of Lando for this year. Because not only did he get that maiden win, he's gotten a maiden sprint win now and multiple other wins under his belt. He went into this year just trying to get that first win, and he got thrown into the title fight and was the closest competitor to Max Verstappen. Do you know how insane that is? Do you know how proud that makes me as a Lando fan and as a McLaren fan? And although this wasn't his year, this shows so much promise for Lando. And you might be thinking, oh, okay, yep, Lando fan, of course she's going to think that. No, in the media pen, you see him and Max Verstappen, and you would think, oh, he just lost his chance. He's going to be devastated. No, that man was so happy. Not only because now this stops the media constantly belittling him for that. What are you going to do about this? But he also just gets to enjoy the rest of the season now because he's not being hounded all the time about what are you going to do. He just gets to fight for the constructors now. And Max Verstappen himself has said now, in that same media pen, he's a future world champion. I tell him this all the time. He's going to be a future world champion. And I believe that after this year. I believe that because Lando deserves it for how much hard work he puts in. And if 2024 was anything to go by, 2025 and beyond, we're about to see a lot more from Lando. A lot more. The only thing the only other thing I really want to talk about is obviously George Russell went out partying to celebrate his win. He was not obviously the only one, because again, with his 4th title and already drinking in the media pen and before they even left the track, Max also went out drinking. And the funniest thing to come out of Vegas for me now is the knowledge that at 10:30 the next morning, Max Verstappen was still partying. Yes, the race was in the middle of the night in the city that never sleeps, so obviously they had plenty of time to go out after. But 10:30 the next morning, Max Verstappen was still celebrating. And you know how we know this? Because at 9:30 the next morning, George was leaving the hotel to go to the airport to fly to Qatar, and Max was still partying. Max was still partying down in the bar in the hotel. Um, and it has also come out that he literally, it would have been about 10:30 that he finally finished partying. He went, packed his bags, and boarded a flight. Oh, that poor man would have had such a hangover after that. Um, but congratulations to George Russell for your Vegas win. Congratulations again to Max Verstappen for your fourth title. Let's see what 2025 brings us in terms of a fight with all the driver change arounds. And I will see you next episode for the Qatar recap. And we will see if the news is confirmed then to give you guys.